Hello again, so good to have you back inside the four walls of the Tier 4 studio here in Morgantown, West Virginia. This is a place as recharged, as re-energized as me, Mike Casazza from the Charleston Daily Mail. And you know why you're here. And if you don't call a friend, don't check your calendar, don't Google it. Do me a favor instead. Find the cursor on your screen, drag it to the right-hand corner, locate that little red box with the white X in it, click it. Now the rest of you, like I said, so good to be here because we're here for football, actual football today, the beginning of the 2014 season for West Virginia University. The first day of practice, the first time the media is allowed to look in through a window for 30 minutes, the first of many video blogs here for the Daily Mail. In fact, we'll have two blogs. One, the table setter right now, the preview piece as I like to call it, and then we'll come back later in the afternoon, maybe after the practice, maybe after Dana Holgorsen's press conference, to kind of give you some updates, mostly observational reporting. Those 30 minutes of that first press conference, not useless, but not terribly useful too. We can, like I said, do some observational stuff. We can figure out who's there, who's not there, who's in a new number, who's in a new jersey, who got swole, who got fat, who's puking, who's running by their teammates, things like that. Observational stuff has some value for sure, and then we can ask Dana Holgorsen some things later. Some things he can answer, some things he can't. The media, the coaches, even the players, we're all in a getting to know you phase early on. And also we're going to kind of be kept at an arm's distance here because Alabama is Alabama. That is 30 days away, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game in Atlanta, Georgia. Understand the reason to have some secrecy here because you want to have competitive advantages. That's the reality right now. So we'll come back in the afternoon. Right now we'll talk about what we expect not just today, but throughout the first 2 weeks here that we'll really be covering this camp part of the season. First thing I want to talk about, number one, is actually number two. We know Clint Trickett has already been positioned as a starting quarterback. For how long that lasts, we don't know. What if somebody lights it up during camp right now and Trickett struggles? Do you make a change? Could it be injury-based or performance-based later in the season? Certainly a possibility, but West Virginia knows, as well as anybody, you have to have a number two ready. Now, who is it going to be? That's one question. How quickly they figure out who it's going to be is another question. How they do it is yet another question. It's all very interesting. You have Logan Moore, Skyler Howard, Paul Millard, all here during the spring. You also have William Crest, a freshman who, though he has not played it down for these coaches, has great confidence from those coaches. They seem like they really believe in him, and they say they're going to dump stuff on him right away, not because they have to work in a tight space before moving forward, but because they think he can handle it, and they want to know right away. He's going to get some looks at number two right away. If he takes it off, he's going to go places with it, and then all of a sudden he's giving them a good problem to have. So how quickly did they make a decision on him, which means how quickly did they make a decision on Paul Millard, Skyler Howard, Logan Moore, guys like that. Be very interesting to watch, or at least to ask questions about and get answers about how they're using those other quarterbacks and how they're forming a plan and how quickly they do it and act upon it. Number two for me, the running backs. We all know, we've all talked about the great depth they have back there. But it's similar to the quarterback situation in reserve. How do you figure out an order for starting or playing games? Again, WVU knows as well as anybody, you got to have running backs. Where do you start? Russell Shell, Dreamer Smith, Wendell Smallwood. There's certainly pluses for all those, but Smith, was he a star last year? No. Was it because of Sims? Probably. Shell sat out last season. Good player at Pitt. Can he handle the offense right now? Maybe. Smallwood, a lot of potential, but he's also gotten a lot of attention for his potential based off two quotes, really, from Dana Holgorsen. One saying that they were grooming him for the Charles Sims role, which, don't get me wrong, is a great compliment, but you'd like to see him do it. And also because they said he was the best slot receiver in the spring, which I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with being the best running back on the team and how that distinguishes him from the other two guys. Is probably more of an indictment upon the slot receivers there. So how did they work those three in there? Those seem like your leaders, but we also know that DTW, the freshman from North Carolina, is coming with a purpose. He's a big guy, he can play. We know Andrew Bowie wasn't even here last year, and he's trying to get his footing. And we know Dustin Garrison had a great spring. We thought of him as an outside guy, a slashing guy, but this spring we watched him hammering up in the middle and run like a different guy, and he says a tougher runner because of the pain he played through last year with his knee. How do you figure out a starting point? How do you figure out an order? Again, very interesting to me. The last two for me I want to look at, they're on defense. Defense is the thing I'm going to keep my eye on the most this summer because, well, to be frank with you, I think that the spring was probably a lot of smoke screening for us. I don't believe they're going to play one down lineman with 5 linebackers. I don't believe they're going to play no down lineman with 5 linebackers. I think very rarely will you see 4 down linemen. This is going to be an odd front team that may look familiar to things in the past, and I'll leave it at that. However, 2 guys I want to see highlight the 2 areas of the defense that I'm going to watch. This will be 3 and 4 on our script here. The defensive line is going to have to be great in comparison to last year, which was not great, if this defense is going to make strides. I want to see Shaquille Riddick, the FCS All-American, who was apparently a mountain of a man, very physical at one defensive end spot. I want to see what he adds, if he can play, if he can acquiesce to this level right away. Can he dominate? I don't know. Can he deserve a spot in the field? Let's start there. Also, Christian Brown apparently had a great offseason and looks like the man in the middle. The other defensive end is it Noble Nwachukwu? Is it Kyle Rose? Is it Eric Kinsey? Can they get 6, 7 guys up front to give them a rotation, to give them players, to give them options? That front has to be better, though. This is a quick pass league with shotgun offenses. You can't expect blitzing safeties and outside linebackers to get there. You need to push up front. That is as large a reason as any the past 2 years West Virginia has not been great in pass defense, but also has not been good at getting to the quarterback. And finally, the secondary. I'm not too concerned about the linebackers, even with the 2 new coaches, because they have a wealth of depth and talent there. But I want to see the secondary last seen chasing receivers around the defensive backfield in the Big 12. The one other guy that's going to be new that we did not see last year, well, we mentioned Riddick. The other guy could be Drayvon Henry, the freshman from Pennsylvania. It's not going to be a running back year. We know that. It looks like he is going to start camp as the #1 free safety. What does that mean 30 days from now? Who knows? But this is a guy who was going to fly all around the backfield and make plays. He's going to tip balls, intercept balls, tackle people, cover. He can play that free safety spot. Can he do it at this level? We'll see. Is he a backup? Is he a year away? Is he a starter? That is a interesting situation for me because he is the back end of this defense here. You're going to see Karl Joseph moved up a lot in more aggressive situations as your bandit. That leaves the freshman back there. If it's not him, it's Jeremy Tyler, it's Rick Rumpf, guys who have not played a whole lot of football back there. If it's just talent alone, it may be Henry because he's the most talented and does not have that big of a gap in experience to catch up with Tyler or Rumpf. And finally, the corners, I kind of like the situation there, but you need some depth. Ickey Banks, you don't really worry about. A physical guy, knows the game. Daryl Worley, gifted athlete, looks like he's primed to really take over that position there. You need those 2, 3, 4 guys behind him. You need, like I said, 3 backups there. If not for nickel, then to roll them out and play different situations. Who are those guys going to be? You have, again, a wealth of options there, but guys who have not played a ton, guys who haven't held on to the spots in the past, what will happen there in reserve behind Worley, talented, like we said, and Banks, savvy, veteran, tough, like we said. Are they good enough to hold on? Sure. That's not really the concern. Who is behind them, second string, third string, that can give them a spell or give them an option if one of the 2 struggles. So we'll keep an eye on those 4 things, not just today, but going forward. Thank you for seeing me today. I will see you later. Mike Casazza, Charleston Daily Mail.